This NFL Futures Update edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog just added Pick'em Scorchers, where you can win 100 times your money. That's right, turn $5 into 500 in one game. Play every NFL Sunday. They're giving away $100,000. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $500. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Game Time app and use promo code SGPN. Finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Doubleheader. This is even the baseball nuts wouldn't do it this quick.
Well, and
they need time to rest, go back to the clubhouse, maybe throw some seeds in.
Yes,
maybe some of that
rotator dip,
extra caffeinated drink that they used to drink back in the 70s that just basically had meth in it or whatever.
Yes, it was crazy back in the day. They said they had 2 jugs of coffee called like regular and then super unleaded, and that was what they would mix the. Whatever the
some sort of amphetamine.
Amphetamine type substance in
Pick me
there.
up.
Get real dialed in on the game, man. I can see the ball. I can see it.
I mean, just cut to 2020, the modern day, and you'll just see Matt Prater out there popping a little decaf nose beers. Is it really that different, Sean?
Well, I forget who was and it was probably like Daryl. I'm trying to think who it was.
Daryl Strawberry was not using any decaf anything.
No, he was going super unleaded the entire time, going full cocaine bear there. I forget what player it was, but they said he always used to slide head first because he would keep his cocaine vials that were glass in his back pocket of his uniform. I don't remember, so I don't want to throw someone under the bus. But I mean, back in the and baseball.
Can't trust your teammates. You got to carry it with you at all times.
According to our producer, it was Tim Raines.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Story checks out. He liked the cocaina.
Yeah.
He was big on the scouting trips down to the islands.
And that's when people make fun of baseball as a sport, it's like, well, these guys were, they pitched a no-hitter on LSD. It's a game where it's a sport where you do it while also chewing tobacco. Like, could you imagine? Yeah. I love a good dip on a Sunday afternoon, but could you imagine playing in the NFL while chewing tobacco?
I mean, Chase Claypool.
Maybe Dan Campbell could pull it off.
Chase Claypool has now become like a meme for the NFL.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yet his original all-time great contribution, which, by the way, if you missed the news, he is now a Miami Dolphin. So he's going to be good soon. Don't worry. But he left us with one of the greatest moments in a locker room ever. This was a Pittsburgh Steelers locker room that once had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell at the same exact time, and yet Chase Claypool throwing a big lipper in, never having done a lipper.
Yeah, it was
First
a great
of all,
reaction.
You're Canadian. How have you never thrown in a lipper? Secondly, all-time great live TV moment.
Well, and now we're learning, even though he is Canadian, rare Canadian asshole, because apparently he was just so difficult on the team. They traded him away for nothing after giving up essentially a first rounder for him. And this goes back to Tomlin. We've seen Antonio Brown. We've seen Le'Veon Bell. Now add Chase Claypool to that list of as soon as they leave the Pittsburgh Steelers, they become massive pains in the asses. So he must have been doing something right.
Yeah, again, if Tomlin's calling you about offloading a receiver, just don't pick up.
Yeah, be careful. Okay, so we thought it'd be fun to check back in. We gave out so many futures. Well, pretty crazy. We did 32 team previews. We previewed every sort of NFL futures award market. Check in on some of the futures that we're feeling pretty good about, some of the futures that are completely fucked, and then some future fixes, aka how are we going to get in on the futures market today?
I have an exact number of futures that I placed.
Really?
Give or take a couple paper tickets that maybe I didn't have a ton of paper tickets this year, so it was pretty easy to account for. But 127 futures.
Now that is a portfolio.
Obviously, there's some smaller dollar pizza bets in there, some moonshots. But yeah, it felt good this year. It felt good to be, like you said, as we do all these shows, the easiest resolution to missing out on any action that was ever discussed on our airwaves is just bet it all.
Yes. Bet it all.
Solve the problem. I bet it all.
Hey, speaking of pizza bets, my bet when it comes to lead pipe lock for delicious flavor, that's right, Little Caesars. Love me some Little Caesars, a.k.a. the official pizza sponsor of the National Football League. Pizza, football, they just go perfectly together. You're sitting there on the couch. You want that nice comfort food that is Little Caesars. And Little Caesars, I keep it simple over at Little Caesars. Just give me that pepperoni pizza with the pretzel crust. Give me some of the Caesar wings. I'm ready to go. You can order online during our Pizza pregame, 1 hour before and 3 hours after NFL kickoffs, plus all day Sunday. Just perfect way to elevate your Sunday, especially with the London game. You got the London game, the early games, the afternoon games, the night games. We're talking about 13, 14 hours of football maybe.
4 windows of football.
Yeah.
4 quarters of the calzone.
Yes, the 4-quarter calzone. I almost forgot to mention that. There are so many delicious menu items over at Little Caesars. And again, delivery, they have it for Little Caesars or their in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab a few friends, grab a few slices, and enjoy the game. And speaking of game, if you're going to the game or you want to go to the game, you don't have tickets, not a problem because you got Game Time. That's right, Game Time is it's just your ticketing app. Make it your ticketing app. There are ticketing app. Use the promo code SGPN. Get $20 off your first purchase. Again, create the account. Go to gametime.co. Use the promo code SGPN. Get $20 off. Love Game Time. You can see where you're going to be sitting. You hit the all-in price so you know the actual amount you're going to pay. They have the low price guarantee. So if you can somehow beat their price, you can't. Don't even try. They will refund you 110% of the difference. They're only putting that out there because they know they got the lowest prices. Very easy to use. I got my tickets for the Eagles-Rams using Game Time. Highly, highly recommend it. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code SGPN for $20 off. Kramer, do we want to start positive or negative for our futures?
Negative. And I was actually, as you were talking about Little Caesars earlier, maybe we need to do a segment with our own food scientist, a.k.a. Justin Decker, who has a take on foods that are good to eat during football and foods that aren't. So maybe we get a deep dive on why pizza is a good football watching food.
Well, it's you can eat it with your hands. You don't need utensils.
I was a little surprised last weekend. He suggested a breakfast sandwich was better than a breakfast burrito. I'd love to see how the sausage.
It's a strong take.
I'd like to see how the sausage is made. Let's start negative.
Okay, for me. And shout out to producer Jeremiah behind the glass, Jets fan.
Well, hold on. Isn't it funnier if I read off yours and you read off mine?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah,
read off mine. Happy to carry the baton there. Just pass it off like a nice 100-meter relay. Sean, you're literally giving out a division where you're fucked. Jets to win the division plus 270.
Not good. Not looking good right now.
In a week where you are all over Zach Wilson, like the Cougars of the Mountain West.
I don't think they're going to win the division. Now, winning the division and beating that Broncos secondary are two completely different things, Ryan.
Feels related.
Maybe I should get back in on
related.
on a better price.
Do you want to know what the updated price is? Just for shits and giggles.
I'm guessing.
Take a guess.
15-1.
35-1.
Wow. Okay. So they're really out on this Jets team. Even though they got a good defense, Breece Hall's running the ball, they're rallying around Zach.
We're only a quarter away through the season, not even. And I will say I don't remember division odds being so spread out. So many 30+ to 1, 25 to 1 type odds. So certainly it's a new take. So yeah, horrible take by you.
Yep. taking the L there. Kramer, what about you? What's worse right now, having the Giants to win the division like you have, or having the Jets to win the division?
Oh, I have a lot of money on the Giants, stupidly. I do this every year. It's like, I'll never forget this. I'm going to quick anecdote. So when I first started doing the high-stakes fantasy league out here in Vegas, the FFPC, the guy who runs it, he always gets up before the drafts and kind of says a welcome, tells a little story. And the story was about one of the participants who, to avoid his wife detecting, would write every time he got paid. So every 2 weeks, he would write a check to the FFPC. This is probably back in like 2011, 2012. And he would just slowly accumulate enough funds in the account to pay for all these main event entries. That feels like me buying up Giants division. Like I'm always
if your
doing
wife
it.
only knew.
I'm always doing it at an amount where I'm like, this doesn't matter. It's a $25 bet. It's a $50 bet. But when you go back and you realize you've made 20 of them, they add up, and it's like, holy shit, I'm an idiot. I did it again. Well, I can't have anything nice. Sorry, I was starting to do my New York radio. I'm really disappointed that guy just. Oh,
and what was his name? DeGreca?
I don't know, like Donnie DiVincenzo.
Yeah,
like someone. Name.
His rant on Evan Neal was just amazing. Oh, that's an all-time radio rant, Kramer. That was.
It's a great radio rant. I think the substance was stretch out.
Oh, you're too close to the situation.
What do you mean?
Evan Neal calling out.
Oh, no. I have no problem with someone getting upset. I think he was full-blown radio guy. That's all I'll say.
It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Big time radio guy. All right, where else did you fuck up, Sean? Well, the Detroit Lions, 4th place. 6-1. I see what you're doing here. Nice reverse jinx attempted. Hey, we've seen the Lions perform great for 8-9 game stretches before, and it doesn't turn out to be very good.
Well, I think.
Are you saying that the defense is real? That's why you're saying this is a failure?
Yeah, the defense that we've seen, and part of the reason why I was out on the Detroit Lions, or at least fading their hype. One, I thought the division was a little bit more wide open than the odds suggested. And I wasn't going to put the Packers division future in here because I do think that I don't think it's completely locked up for the Lions. But to your point, their defense did make a jump that I really didn't see coming. So shout out to, I know we have a bunch of Lions fans because they're always chirping at me when I'm cautious about them. Either way, I think there's a world where maybe they unravel a little bit. And maybe miss the playoffs is still alive, but certainly not last place in the division. I know the Bears just won a game, but I think it would take a lot for them, considering how the rest of the division looks, to get down to 4th place.
Yeah, the Bears are the 4th place team.
Yeah, that's
one of the more certain things I know.
Vikings are
no.
Hey.
The Vikings are like the Vikings will be fine. The Vikings will be middling. If anything, you probably could talk yourself into the idea that the Vikings are a decent bet at the division. I mean, in terms of just having the guns to battle. But yeah.
Kramer, you had the San Francisco 49ers to miss the playoffs. You're already giving up on that one?
Yeah. They could play without a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's actually true. The bullshit we were making fun of the odds makers for, they don't need a quarterback to make the playoffs.
I still think
they don't need a quarterback.
I still think you need a quarterback to win the NFC Championship.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
No, we're talking about win the division.
Honestly, if things get bad, just have Debo take everything, or Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey, and we saw him make a throw in that conference championship game. So yeah, San Francisco to miss the playoffs, maybe hating a little too hard there.
Yeah, no, it was a Sam Darnold take. There were a lot going on.
I think there's still a world where Brock Purdy gets a little banged up. I know you're sitting on your – I'm surprised the Sam Darnold MVP didn't make it into the fucked pile.
Also fucked, but it was 150 to 1. So.
Yeah, I had the same – because I have some crazy long shot. Israel Abanikanda, Rookie of the Year at 150 to 1. But how hard am I going to bust my own balls with some of these negative ones? What about – now kicking it over to the positive, what about some stuff we feel good about, Ryan? What's one of your futures? And there's a ton that to me feel good on both sides. I don't even know where to start.
You should start with the one that's already cashed. Basically.
Okay. Yes, and depending on how your book grades it, either way, it's a win. But Carolina Panthers, last winless team at 17-1. Some people will grade this as a win already. Others will wait until if they lose against the Lions, which I'm predicting they will, then they'll grade it after that. Even if they somehow upset the Lions and beat them, you would still have this graded as a dead heat, so you would get to split that price.
So basically, most books will treat this like a golf match where it's like they take the whole week, and if you lose on Thursday or you lose on Monday, it doesn't matter. You made it the same length in the season. They'll dead heat you, which means the 17-1 price will drop down to, what, not 8.5 to 1?
Yeah, either way, a nice cash there.
But if you wagered at Circa.
Yeah, Circa, I saw, already graded those winners.
They and they even posted their rules. They timestamp it. So crazy enough, like this could be Sunday. And your game finishes first.
Wow.
Yeah, and you could
that adds
kudos. Yeah, that adds a nice little sweat aspect.
I
to
did
it. So
not.
shout out to the Circa for that.
When we were handicapping that aspect, that angle never came into my mind. Although,
well, here's what's crazy, Sean, is very few teams did we agree on our best bets.
Yes.
You gave this out as your favorite prop for the team. I gave this out in our future column where we were giving out our over unders or to win the division. So this was one of the few bets we both gave out 17-1.
Well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but our win total locks where we gave out our best win total, we both had Panthers under 7.5, which starting out 0-4, you got to feel optimistic.
We predicted 5-12, both of us. So we were lockstep on one thing this year.
Yes.
All right, that's awesome. Money in the pocket already. Investment. The portfolio is starting to pay for itself. All right, I threw two in here as a combo, feeling good because I threw out a lot of exacta boxes this offseason.
Okay.
Where basically I'm saying doesn't matter the order. These two teams finish atop the division. We're going to get paid. The one division I really like, and by the way, I left the NFC North off here, and I still think the Minnesota Green Bay is not dead. I'll say that. I do think Detroit could still collapse. But let's start with Houston and Tennessee. Houston, obviously one of the surprise-looking teams based on the preseason. C.J. Stroud looks great. DeMeco Ryans, we're seeing the price plummet in the Coach of the Year market.
Yeah.
This exacta was 20-1 when we gave it out. By the way, Tennessee doesn't look that bad. The division's parity. Everyone's 2-2, so we have a shot here. It's still 20-1. The live price is less than half of that. So obviously they've smartened up. Also in the NFC South, we have Carolina. We just mentioned they're dead.
Yeah,
put them off to the side. There's three-team race left. New Orleans doesn't have a quarterback.
Derek Carr does not look good.
And I have Atlanta, Tampa, again, exacta box.
Atlanta also doesn't have a quarterback.
But they have a running game. And I would say if we take the quarterbacks out of the situation.
I love that you found a way to put a positive Atlanta future in this feeling.
Well, don't you
section.
think having this at 13-1 feels pretty good right now?
No, I do agree. I do agree.
All right.
But I do find your love of the Falcons comical.
They're going to figure this out. They're going to figure. I saw some people saying the Bears should trade Justin Fields to the Falcons. That would be all time. But what if? What if they finally give him the pieces he needs? We're going to see Justin Fields take off. You know what Kyle Pitts needs? He needs a less accurate quarterback. Go get Justin Fields.
Yeah, the fact that the Atlanta Falcons, when there was a chance to maybe get in the race for Lamar Jackson, and they said, no, we're good. We got Desmond Ridder. That, I think, in hindsight.
Can we take it a step further? They were the last team in on Deshaun Watson. They were the last team to tap out and say, fuck you, we're not doing guaranteed contract. So they were in on Watson, out on Jackson, out on Tannehill, in on Ridder.
Well, and they
Heineke's starting in 2 months.
They had a pretty high draft pick. There's a world where maybe they trade up. Who knows? The Colts were probably pretty set on Richardson, but there's a world where maybe they get up in and get a real quarterback.
You understand what Arthur Smith would do with someone like Anthony Richardson? Turn him right into a running back.
You have to know when to come.
All right, we got some more winners, and then, of course, giving out some more futures. Before we do that, your future is bright. If you've signed up with Underdog Fantasy, Get in on their NFL pick'em, higher, lowers. Very easy to play, very fun. I already got the last night's show, the prop show. I found similar fantasy prices, not props, over on Underdog Fantasy. Put down a 5 for 5 over on Underdog Fantasy. It pays 40x. Are you kidding me? $25 for a chance to win $1,000. I'm in. They also have a 100% deposit bonus up to $500 for a limited time. I don't know when they're going to cut it off, so get in while you can. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN, and of course, $100,000 Sundays. 10 random winners or random players over on Underdog Fantasy. If you play one of their featured players in your legs, your pick'em legs, you got a chance to win $100,000. Or sorry, 10 people get 10K. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And, of course, Hall of Fame bets. Man, I waste so much time before I found Hall of Fame bets looking up on the reference sites. Oh, okay, how many times has Zach Ertz, how many times has A.J. Brown had 9 catches this season? Oh, back-to-back games. Oh, wow, 130 yards? Oh, yeah, sounds like a guy you don't want to play in DFS. I've done a ton of research over the years. Hall of Fame bets makes that research so much easier, especially with the revolutionary parlay optimizer. See the hit rates broken down by leg, expected probability. They got you covered. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching. Start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Everyone said I was a madman for giving out the Tampa Bay Bucks to win the division at 10-1.
What position are they in right now, Sean?
Let me look up.
First place.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, honestly, I pulled it up because of your laughter towards my Falcons. Right now, the Falcons and the Bucks are in first and second place. So
yes.
Let's
Saints and Falcons are tied.
Let's just settle that slander.
So they already have a division win. Their only loss was against the Eagles, NFC Conference champions from last year, but I thought they gave them a little bit of a fight. And I don't think the Bucs looked horrible against the Eagles. I know Baker turned it over a couple times, but I thought they were in that game. They didn't look completely lost.
Currently favored to win the division, plus 165.
Yeah, so at the very least, great CLV. If you want to get out, you have some options. But I'm going to stick it out for the Baker ride here.
You're not going to pull out?
No.
Okay.
The defense looks good, and there's all these stories about Baker bonding with the offensive lineman. Apparently, he took him down to the Bahamas for a golf
Island
trip. Who knows what they were getting into? But everyone loves Baker. They're all in. This could unravel for them, but I think they're setting Baker in a good spot. They're keeping him as a game manager. He doesn't have to do too much. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin having pretty good years here, and the defense is really carrying them. Also, I kind of tossed it in last second when we were doing Coach of the Year, but Todd Bowles, Coach of the Year, 75-1.
He's just not going to get it. I like the angle, but is he going to get it?
He's all the way down to, I think, like 15-1 right now.
It's just there's how does he win it over Mike McDaniel? There's some situations happening that he's going to have to get.
Yeah, so I think if he wins the division, I think he's definitely going to be in the mix for Coach of the Year.
Can he win it over McDaniel, like Mike McDaniels, if this continues? Probably not.
I think so. Well, it depends. I mean, if the Dolphins are number 1 seeds, no. But if the Dolphins are in as a wild card and they're 10-7, 11-6, remember the Coach of the Year thing is all about you got to win 5 or 6 more games than you did the previous year.
Mike McDaniel 350, Dan Campbell 350, D'Amico Ryan 9-1, Shanahan 10-1, Steichen 12-1, Harbaugh 15-1, Bowles 18-1.
Yeah, I mean,
McVay 22-1, LaFleur 25.
75-1. I'm feeling good about the fact that I'm in the mix here. I do think between the Colts and the Texans, if one of those teams win the division with a rookie quarterback, I think they're going to be a really tough coach to beat. So Steichen was one of the other ones I gave out. So I feel pretty good about that one as well.
Yeah, if you look at my final card, D'Amico Ryans was my coach of the year.
Yeah.
And that seemed like the best way at the time to play the Texans. So, yeah. All right. Well,
what do you got, Ryan?
Well,
what is your what's one you're touting as well?
are we allowed to talk about things that have already cashed?
Yes, I talked about the Carolina Panthers last winless team.
Do you remember when we talked about how the Bengals had I guess, sorry, it hasn't already cashed. I misrepresenting the truth. But we talked about how the Bengals started with some divisional spots right off the bat. They lost both of them. They lost to the Browns. They lost to the Ravens. And we took I think we even had a fairly long conversation about how I thought I liked this better than the season under.
Yeah.
It was Cincinnati to go under 3.5 divisional wins, and it was plus 140.
So they would need
They're
to
0-2 right now.
They would need to win all 4 of the rest
Yes.
of their division games to lose this.
I feel like I'm in a pretty nice spot.
Yeah.
And this was in lieu. So I ended up this was my in lieu of taking the Bengals under this year. I bet this. And so, hello, you're probably wondering when is this going to cash already? I'm being impatient. Well, unfortunately, they play the Ravens a second time before they even play the Steelers, and it's not until mid-November. But I think we could be cashing this on November 16th, Sean. Hopefully, the books will get me a little cash advance there. Basically a win.
Basically a win.
Basically a win.
I like it. All right, now is where we get to have fun. Give out some picks. Give out some future fixes. Kramer, why don't you? Because the chat just threw out some that I want to investigate while listening to yours. But what do you like here?
Are they Eagles related?
Yeah, one is, yes.
That's surprising. This is the segment where Sean throws out some Eagles futures you might not already have in your pocket. Yeah, I'll just go right to a division situation. I mentioned that I thought the best way to play the Texans preseason was in the Coach of the Year market.
Yeah.
Still 9-1, so maybe you argue that it's the same argument. You'd rather play the 9-1 than invest in the Texans to win the division right now. But I'll say this, Sean. I think I invest in the Texans to win the division right now. They are currently somehow the longest shot.
Wow, really?
Jags plus 145, Titans plus 235, which already we have investment in the Titans.
So
we
Ryan,
already have a small sprinkle on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who basically are on their preseason price of plus 650, and then the Bengals are now 7-1. So the real market variance has been just the Bengals dropping. Or I'm sorry, what am I reading here? Titans plus 235, Colts plus 380, which not a ton of movement for them. And then the Texans plus 475. Now, where this is interesting is the Texans have better odds to make the playoffs than the Colts. So already that's a little puzzling. You then look at the Jags win total relative to what the Texans looks to be. Remember, the Texans already beat the Jags. So all these teams are 2-2. So I'm not really sure why the Jags are 145 and the Texans are 475. And so I guess I would say I'll take more Texans action. We have a longer preseason price.
Well, now, Ryan, you're taking the Texans here. Are you going to be rooting for the Texans now come Sunday against your Atlanta Falcons?
No.
Okay.
So maybe we wait, but I mean, I don't think I wonder what the price is. So this weekend, like after this weekend, the expectation is the Titans' price is going to shrink. They'll beat the Colts, Jags lose to the Bills. So Titans losing shouldn't affect their price all that much. So maybe we wait to do this investment after the weekend, but just in case they get a nice road win and they win 3 games in a row for the first time since 2018, I'll take the Texans right now. Plus 475 to win the division. And the hottest of all takes, they look like they have the best quarterback in the division.
Ooh,
You heard that, Trevor?
Goldilocks on alert.
That's not his fault. It's the receiver's fault, man. He's
keep
dropping passes.
Hey, Trevor, you wanna win over some fans? Get a win against the Bills in London. I think that would go a long way in getting Trevor Lawrence back in the mix there. I was looking at the MVP market, not going to do anything there, but I did have to crowbar in one more future.
Well, if you were going to take an MVP.
Right now?
I know you're not an official play.
Yeah.
But if you were to make eyes with one of these futures, is there one that Josh Allen 380, Tua 5-1, Mahomes 550, Hurts 7, Jackson 11-1, McCaffrey 17-1, Purdy 18-1, Herbert 18-1, Lawrence 25-1.
Yeah,
Stafford at 50-1 is interesting.
Well, and I gave that one out 100-1, and I also gave out Christian McCaffrey 200-1. And I think if Purdy gets banged up at all, he has a real shot of winning that thing. The problem with me is like Herbert's interesting maybe at 18-1, but man, that team just figures out you have to win games. And then Lamar Jackson at 11-1, I'm still not sold. The fumbling issue is really concerning. I already have Jalen Hurts. I got it at 12-1. It's down to 7-1. Mahomes at plus 550, Tua at 500, Josh Allen at 300. None of these are that interesting. I would maybe take Jared Goff, I think, at 35-1 if I had to. What do you like here at MVP?
No, I mean, I think you're probably right. I mean,
I would honestly just punt this.
If the Vikings make a win comeback and Cousins puts up video game numbers, that's always possible. As crazy as it sounds, he's on pace to put up some video game numbers. But no, I would say the guy that stands out to me is Lamar at 11-1. Look, their division's falling apart quickly. I'm very happy I have a plus 240 in my pocket from preseason for them to win the division. Didn't tout it earlier, but I think Lamar, again, could he be the regular season guy this year? We haven't even seen the offense take off, so maybe he's the guy you invest in. But I'm with you. I think I think we got to wait and see a little bit. This 5-1 thing is unsettling.
No, that
he's not going to win, right?
Would you take a plus 500 that Tua starts the rest of the games?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so then where is the value?
That's a good point.
He's got to start the majority of the rest of the games.
We have some fans outside.
What's up, guys?
They must be here to talk Tua.
Okay, this guy's wearing an I Heart Joe Biden shirt. I don't know if that's sarcastic or not.
He looks like it's very serious. He's very sleepy. He's falling down.
It is not serious, I'm being told.
Oh, that's too bad. He's my favorite politician. I got a jersey.
Right.
I got one of his jerseys too.
700.
I got to play the Biden sound drop for him. He's a huge fan. Hey guys, what's up? Subscribe to the Sports Gambling Podcast. All right, they're in. I got a thumbs up.
Nice. He's
a Biden fan, Ryan. Watch. He's going to trip over something walking around in the hallway.
Oh wow! Just come on. You're a proper comedian, Sean. Don't take the easy stuff.
Here we go. For me, future I like. Give me Anthony Richardson. Getting down on it a little bit more here. Offensive Rookie of the Year at plus 550. Well, because I think to me, right now,
3-horse race.
Who's the third horse?
Puka?
No. I think because I one of either the Texans or the Colts, I think, are getting into the playoffs. And I think they have a decent chance to win the division. Now, the Colts to win the division is plus 380. If the Colts win the division with Anthony Richardson, he is getting Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Agree.
I think it should be evenly priced, or at least closer than it is. I love C.J. Stroud. I love what I've seen from him so far. If the season ended today, he would be my vote for Offensive Rookie of the Year, but he's plus 160. I'd rather take Anthony Richardson at plus 550. What Puka's doing is just not sustainable in any sort of way, and we have two good quarterbacks, so it's going to go to one of these quarterbacks. Why not take the one you're getting plus 550 on?
Yeah, I guess if you're voting today based on what Puka's done and the fact that no one has ever done, like, this pace is ridiculous, I think he's the guy, and I think you have to talk about him until he stops showing us this pace.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think Bijan's in consideration. Again, he can have a crazy year. What we've seen out of Devin Achan, he might be in consideration. Running backs could put up counting stats. 4 touchdowns in a game was a nice start. But I'm with you. I think it's a 2-horse race. C.J. Stroud 9-1 preseason feels good.
Yeah, no,
Anthony
definitely.
Richardson needs to finish more games. That's his thing. Which, by the way, Sean, as I was digging through the futures we did bet, if you recall, one of the things we got down on was that Bryce Young would start the fewest games at plus 370 compared to Anthony Richardson and C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, the Rookie of the Year, and I also gave out C.J. Stroud 9-1 Offensive Rookie of the Year. But I think at this point, if you're hopping in the market, Anthony Richardson, because it's a close tie, and I Achan at 40-1. I don't think he's going to win it, but he's down to 6-1. So at the very least, some CLV. Sharp.
You were on a real roller coaster with that guy. Because then you were out on him in best ball.
Yeah.
Said he wasn't going to make the team.
Well, if there wasn't for Jeff Wilson getting injured, maybe he doesn't see the field. Dude, they had him running like punt gunner stuff.
No, I know. It's just
he must have like
smoking my weed.
him and McDaniels ran into each other like hitting the weed pen, and all of a sudden they became friends.
Preseason stuff doesn't matter.
There you go.
I came with a long shot here, though.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure we got people a little bit of reinvestment with some stimulus package. Offensive Player of the Year. So if you go look, obviously McCaffrey is having a great year. McCaffrey doesn't ever get hurt, though. When you look at the receivers, it's very distributed right now. Not a lot. No one's running away with the touchdown race. No one's running away with the yardage race or even the targets. And so I think it's fair that you can kind of peek down the board and say, okay, who is a target hog that could end up with insane counting stats and be on an offense that's good enough to carry this type of award?
A.J. Brown.
Well, certainly A.J. Brown pops at 50-1.
Yeah. It's almost the same price
preseason
that I had preseason. I think he just hasn't, like the past two games, he's really popped statistically.
I think there's probably a little too much competition on that team, though, especially when it comes to touchdowns and just general target competition. So if you go down the board a little bit more, and by the way, Jamar Chase also 50-1. So if you're into that, like, let me buy up an alpha receiver kind of situation, because Tyreek Hill's 5-1, Justin Jefferson's 5-1. Even Diggs at 17-1 is pretty interesting because they have that opportunity. Well, you know who else has that opportunity? Both Devontae Adams and Keenan Allen. Now, I'll circle one of them because I like the quarterback a little bit better, but Keenan Allen at 35-1. Mike Williams is already gone. Yeah. I understand that Keenan Allen has to stay healthy, but the case here is that they make the playoffs. They have historic offensive numbers, and Keenan Allen is getting 30% of the target share like we're seeing.
So yeah, in a weird way, though, I almost would rather have Herbert MVP at 18-1. Because
you think so? Because I think the problem is
if Keenan gets there to the point where he's getting Offensive Player of the Year, I think, and Herbert would have to also get MVP.
Well, and you probably see the correlation between the alpha receiver to the MVP relationship, right? Like Tua and Tyreek Hill, a much more discounted price. You said you liked Herbert. If you like Herbert at whatever that teen price is, short 20s, then you probably like Keenan Allen at 35. I don't know if you like it better.
I would try and find Chargers to be the number one seed because you also have to win games.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
You also have to win games. You don't win Offensive Player of the Year if you're not, for the most part, a pretty good team. You got to be a playoff team at least.
Is that true? Hold on, I'm going to look. I'll pull up some data while you.
Well, like Tyreek Hill won it last year. They were a good team. I mean, some of that was the Tua injury, so that I guess was
Justin Jefferson won last year.
Yeah, they were 13-4.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the reason he won. He just had a sick statistical year.
Yeah, I'm just saying you don't win if you're on a bad team. You don't win Offensive Player of the Year if you're on a bad team.
Well, your offense has to be good, but you also have to put up a shitload of counting stats. Like Michael Thomas winning it, for example, stands out as something that's like not an electric year, but Michael Thomas won over Lamar Jackson and Christian McCaffrey because he had 149 receptions for 1,700 yards.
Yes. But
now,
also,
they were 13-3 that year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think you got to get up to that rarefied air of a number one seed. But yeah, it's 35-1 for a guy who can see a ton of volume. The Devontae Adams one, I'm out on because the Raiders are so bad.
Yeah, I didn't pick it because it's okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be too difficult for that offense. But again, if he's getting a ridiculous workload. Now we'll see if he plays through this injury or not. But also, breaking news: he wants to be in Las Vegas. Okay, it's just the coach that you hate, the other players hate, the fans hate. Everyone but Mark Davis hates him. Maybe we're wrong on these closed-door meetings. Maybe they're
just hanging out, talking about how awesome you are.
Yoga session.
Ryan, I'm going back to the division market. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to win the AFC North at 7-1. The ultimate buy low spot.
This is better than your Zach Wilson take. Barely.
Really?
Barely.
I mean, their win total is adjusted down to 8.5. I think there's a real world. They do have 2 division games left. This team, we've seen it so many times where they get hot late and figure it out, go on a little bit of a run. I'm not completely sold on the Ravens being the dominant team. The Browns have had their moments where they look really bad. The defense looks very good. I just don't think there's a complete team in the AFC North right now. And I think the turnover issue is going to hamper the Ravens at some point. So yeah, give me the Bengals to win the AFC North at 7-1.
Yeah, I do actually think it's a problem that they've already lost to the Ravens and the Browns. I think it's more likely they're competing with them than the Steelers, and so already being down. Yeah, I mean 7-1. Yeah, Burrow's cooked. Burrow's cooked.
Oh, I maybe I just fell in love with that press conference, but I saw a little fire out of Joey B.
Guy couldn't even get on the field at Ohio State.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Bengals are done, bro. Tighten up. I still think that Titans team is frisky. We have a bunch of Titans futures. None that were feeling so good that I was going to put in the feeling good, and none that are so bad that I feel fucked either.
I did. The Exacta made the feeling good.
That's true. You're right. Yeah, you did. You did have the Houston, Tennessee Exacta box at plus 2,000.
Did we want to, before we get out of here, do we want to address the comeback player of the year market?
Sure. What do we got here?
No, is it over? DeMar Hamlin, he finally played, which, by the way, DeMar Hamlin played before Zion. Yeah. So for all the haters who told us we were being mean when we put out that poll saying, is Zion going to play before DeMar Hamlin, shortly after DeMar Hamlin died on a football field. I mean,
DeMar Hamlin, I gave him out at minus 750. He's down to minus 250.
He was down to minus.
I feel like I've given it out like 9 different times. When we did our final show, it was like minus 150. Whatever it is, DeMar Hamlin's winning it at minus 250.
The things that people are coming back from, too. It's like you have a mix of sucking.
Baker Mayfield, did he die? No. Tua, did he die? Almost, but no.
Kinda.
Lamar Jackson, no.
Well, Lamar the player died so that Lamar the agent could live.
Matt Stafford, 20-1. I always thought that was interesting because he was a quarterback. Oh, he missed most of the year. So it was an injury.
TJ Watt, injury.
Easy.
John Mechie, cancer.
Easy tossing out. I know you're hitting DeAndre Swift most rushing yards with me at plus 1,000, right, Sean?
That's stupid.
Why is that stupid?
I'm not even going to address this. That's a bad bet.
Why is it bad?
Because the Eagles aren't going to give it to one guy. That's a bad bet. The Eagles are going to work in Gainwell. I mean, come on. That was your whole preseason take. You don't get to just jump off.
No, I think
10-1's a bad price, too.
I was more optimistic about Gainwell's role than what they're seeing right now.
I'll take all that action. Anyone who wants that, hit me up at Kramer Centric.
Christian McCaffrey is leading right now, but DeAndre Swift is only 125 yards behind him, 95 yards behind him, and he had the first game where he only had 1 carry. If Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, he's running away with this. I think DeAndre Swift to lead the league in rushing yards, if you think Christian McCaffrey is going to get banged up, I think is an interesting bet.
I think if Christian McCaffrey didn't exist, it wouldn't be a good bet. Sean, they're not going to just have him be the bell cow this year.
Why not? It seems to be working.
Okay. I'll happily book this action. I don't think he finishes in the top 10.
Now that's too crazy.
Okay.
All right.
The Eagles as a team will rush for a lot of yards, but they're going to do it with multiple guys.
It does seem like Jalen Hurts is running a little bit less, and they are kind of positioning DeAndre Swift in that Miles Sanders role.
Okay.
Stay tuned, though. Maybe Kramer's right. I hope Gainwell gets the ball more. I have a ton of him in best ball.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, to say that Swift is going to lead the league in rushing yards, it's a better take than Zach Wilson this week, but it's a horrible take.
How many touchdowns is Zach Wilson throwing for, Ryan?
0.
Okay.
0.0.
I'll take that action. Let's go, Zachy Wilson. Hey, tune in to the DFS Picks Pod. We got our college picks pod, NFL picks pod, so many podcasts. And if you're listening to this live over on youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast, that subscribe button. Toss us a thumbs up. Chat, what are you waiting for? It's so easy to give us a thumbs up. And if you're watching live, we are going to be live on VSiN, 9 o'clock Pacific. Still time to send in your favorite dog for our segment, Everyone Loves Dogs. Send in a photo of your actual dog with your favorite moneyline dog in the NFL. We're going to highlight them tonight. We got Jared Smith coming in, Derek at the top of the show. Bunch of fun. And our Sunday slate, first touchdown bets, some props. We got you covered.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
Respected DeMar Hamlin.
Kramer, let it ride.